Every hip-hop head has an opinion about the one and only Slim Shady's impact on the culture, but the divide between generations tells the real story. OGs who remember hip-hop before 8 Mile talk about Marshall like he was either the savior or destroyer of everything they built. Meanwhile, millennials who grew up with Lose Yourself on repeat can't imagine rap without the technical complexity and emotional vulnerability he normalized. And Gen Z inherited a genre where white rappers going platinum is Tuesday and discussing mental health on tracks is expected. Although many would say that each generation's perspective is valid, they're essentially describing 3 different versions of one rap artist. But the fascinating part is how one artist's peak years created such distinct before and after snapshots that different age groups literally experience different genres. We're going past the tired debates about cultural appropriation versus appreciation, beyond arguments about whether he opened doors or kicked them down. So, in today's episode of How to Rap, we'll be examining exactly what changed during those crucial years between '99 and to around '03. First, in order for us to understand exactly how revolutionary Shady's entry into the rap game was, we need to examine the technical battlefield he was stepping into. See, by 1999, hip-hop had already witnessed some of the most brilliant rhyme architects the culture would ever produce. By the 90s, the technical ceiling had risen to astronomical heights that casual listeners could barely appreciate. Nas was crafting what scholars now call organic internal rhyme flow, where entire sentence structures rhymed rather than single words at the end. Listen to his verse on "The World Is Yours," and you'll hear poetic groupings nesting inside each other, one rhyme pattern living within another simultaneously like Russian dolls made of syllables. Kool G Rap was pushing multisyllabic complexity to levels that seemed scientifically impossible, building what one analysis called labyrinthine internal rhyme patterns with quadruple compound schemes. His influence ran so deep that rappers studied his verses like they were preparing for the bar exam. Big Pun emerged in the late 90s as arguably the most technically gifted multisyllabic rhymer alive, mixing alliteration with multisyllabic patterns while squeezing maximum words into each breath. Now, here's where the story takes its sharpest turn. When Eminem dropped his 1996 debut, Infinite, the numbers told a story that nobody was prepared to hear. His rhyme density hit 0.83 on opening bars, while most rappers were hovering around 0.25 to 0.3. Throughout that entire album, he maintained an average of 0.40, which was considered exceptional since anything over 0.4 was basically unheard of. 58% of his rhymes were multisyllabic compared to the 38% average that other elite rappers were hitting. The difference went beyond raw statistics though. While Big Pun and Kool G Rap could absolutely match or exceed this complexity in explosive bursts, Eminem was maintaining this density across entire songs, entire albums, like a marathon runner sprinting the whole 26 miles. He mastered something experts call mosaic rhymes, where corresponding syllables share similar vowel sounds despite pronunciation differences. This meant he could create rhymes where technically none should exist, bending the English language to his will. He pioneered near rhymes or slant rhymes, matching medial vowel sounds even when ending consonants completely differed, like rhyming sweaty, heavy, ready, and already. The first verse of Lose Yourself alone contains at least 6 distinct rhyme chains running concurrently, like parallel universes of sound colliding in perfect chaos. These technical gymnastics would mean nothing in a vacuum, but Marshall was about to prove they could sell millions. The technical specifics of how he rewrote the rhyming playbook deserve their own forensic examination. Let's dissect the 5 distinct rhyme types that Eminem deployed like weapons in an arsenal most rappers never knew existed. Perfect rhymes with identical ending sounds formed his foundation, the basic building blocks every MC understood. Near rhymes or slant rhymes created connections where similar sounds technically shouldn't work together, breaking phonetic rules. Internal rhymes happened within lines, happening mid-bar where lazy rappers would coast on filler words. Multisyllabic rhymes stretched across 2, 3, 4, even 5 syllables at a time, creating cascading sound patterns. Assonance rhymes matched vowel sounds while letting consonants do whatever they wanted, pure sonic manipulation. Now watch what happens when you deploy all five simultaneously like a symphony conductor gone mad. In a single verse from Marshall Mathers, analysis revealed he was rhyming S sounds, N sounds, ah sounds, sounds, whoa plus P sounds, and A plus E plus O sounds. 6 phonetic patterns woven together, every instrument playing a different melody, yet somehow creating perfect harmony. He could take a 5-syllable medical term like amygdala hippocampus and rhyme every single syllable across multiple words, turning technical virtuosity into performance art. This separated him from predecessors like Rakim, who pioneered rhyming 3 to 4 syllables per bar in the late 80s. LL Cool J was hitting 2 to 3 syllables per bar even before that, setting early standards. Those were peaks within verses though, explosive moments of brilliance, while Eminem made complexity his baseline. Kool G Rap's verse on Fast Life contains some of the most intricate rhyme constructions in hip-hop history, absolutely. Big Pun's breath control allowed him to pack more syllables into single breaths than seemed humanly possible. Yet Eminem maintained that complexity while telling vivid stories, using varied flows, and making it accessible to millions who'd never studied rap technique. The comparison becomes crystal clear when you examine their approaches side by side under a microscope. Kool G Rap's approach was mathematical, constructing elaborate compound schemes with an engineer's precision. Big Pun prioritized maximum syllables per breath with alliterative flourishes that dazzled your ears into submission. Eminem synthesized all 3 approaches into something unprecedented. He combined organic storytelling, mathematical precision, and maximum density while adding his own innovations in near rhyming and mosaic patterns. On Bitch Please 2, across 13 syllables, 12 participate in active rhyming patterns. He establishes pattern A, inserts pattern B as interruption, then returns to pattern A seamlessly. This technique, called daisy chaining, meant new rhyme schemes began before previous ones ended, creating continuous rhyming. While he juggled this unprecedented technical wizardry, he was simultaneously demolishing every single barrier the industry thought protected hip-hop from complete mainstream domination. The barriers Eminem demolished went far beyond technical skill, extending into territory that industry executives considered permanently off-limits to white rappers. The landscape he entered was a graveyard littered with failed white rap careers and novelty acts nobody took seriously. The Beastie Boys achieved commercial success in the 80s with Licensed to Ill, the first rap album topping the Billboard 200. But as producer Rick Rubin noted, they seemed safe to middle America in ways black artists hadn't been. They gained respect eventually, but initially were treated as party rappers rather than pure hip-hop artists. Vanilla Ice went 9 times platinum with To the Extreme in 1990, but his career became hip-hop's ultimate cautionary tale. His fabricated street credibility and mainstream pop approach made him the genre's permanent pariah, a punchline that lasted decades. Third Bass achieved critical acclaim and gold certification, but never crossed into mainstream consciousness beyond hip-hop heads. House of Pain scored a massive hit with Jump Around, but remained forever branded as one-hit wonders. White rappers faced what seemed like an impossible mathematical equation with no solution. Be too pop and lose all credibility. Be too street and get called a culture vulture. Be too technical and become a novelty act. Enter Marshall Mathers from a trailer park in Detroit, armed with authenticity that couldn't be questioned. What Eminem understood intuitively was that authenticity required lived experience, not performance. His poverty came from 8 Mile Road reality, not marketing department meetings. His struggles were food stamps and eviction notices, not focus group talking points designed to seem relatable. While Vanilla Ice invented street credibility from thin air, Eminem's authenticity was unimpeachable because it was undeniable. Dr. Dre's cosign provided something even more crucial than world-class production, cultural legitimacy from one of hip-hop's most respected architects. This transfer of credibility couldn't be purchased with any amount of label money. The numbers tell a story that redefined what commercial success looked like in hip-hop forever. The Marshall Mathers LP moved 1.76 million copies in its first week during 2000. The Eminem Show pushed 1.322 million units in week 1 during 2002. For context, DMX's And Then There Was X, considered a massive blockbuster in 1999, moved 670,000 first week. Eminem was literally doubling and tripling what elite black rappers considered phenomenal numbers. By 2000, the Marshall Mathers LP became the best-selling album of the entire year with 7.6 million US sales. This transcended crossing over into complete market domination at a scale hip-hop had never witnessed. The crucial element often missed: Eminem succeeded because he was technically superior while being culturally authentic simultaneously. He made suburban kids want to emulate him while making Detroit veterans respect his pen game. The seismic shifts his success created would permanently alter hip-hop's trajectory and boundaries. Those seismic shifts Eminem created between 1999 and 2003 fundamentally rewired hip-hop's entire genetic code. The answer to our original question lives in both the raw numbers and the culture that followed in his wake. Commercial expectations changed so radically that the definition of blockbuster success got completely rewritten. In 1999, DMX moving 670,000 copies of And Then There Was X. First week was considered phenomenal. By 2000, Eminem's The Marshall Mathers LP pushed 1.76 million first week. By 2005, 50 Cent was moving 1.14 million with The Massacre, numbers that would have been pure fantasy before Eminem proved the market existed. Hip-hop transformed from being a successful genre to becoming the dominant force in popular music. The October 11, 2003 Billboard Hot 100 chart saw the entire top 10 consisting of black artists doing R&B or hip-hop. Hip-hop had become the mix itself. Eminem sold 32.2 million records in the 2000s, more than any artist of any genre that entire decade. He repeated this dominance as the best-selling male artist of the 2010s. The technical complexity bar got raised to heights that created both innovation and unintended consequences. The correlation between rhyme complexity and critical acclaim reached statistical significance of R equals 0.38. Rhyme density increased 34.2% from the 1990s to the 2010s. Multisyllabic rhymes grew from 8.3% of all rhymes in the 80s to 27.6% by the 2010s. That represents a 232.5% increase in technical complexity. But this created the lyrical miracle backlash that haunts hip-hop to this day. Rappers felt pressure to match Eminem's density, spawning what critics mockingly call miracle spiritual lyrical rappers. These artists rap fast with technical complexity, but, as rapper Ransom defined it, they ain't saying a damn thing. The irony cuts deep. These rappers bash trap music for having no substance while their own rapping carries no message. Modern rappers like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Logic, and NF explicitly cite Eminem's rhyme schemes as foundational to their development. J. Cole admitted his first song was literally just sounding like Eminem and Nas before finding his own voice. Kendrick stated, "I learned how to rap by listening to Eminem when I was a kid." The vulnerability Eminem brought to hip-hop opened doors previously welded shut. His exploration of addiction, mental health, and family dysfunction made these topics commercially viable. Songs like Deja Vu described his hospital overdose and immediate return to using. Not Afraid verbalized the emotional changes in pursuing lasting sobriety. Modern artists like Kid Cudi, Logic, and Juice WRL built careers around emotional vulnerability that Eminem legitimized. Peak Eminem rewired what success looked like, what technical skill meant, and what stories hip-hop could tell profitably. And now we'd like to see you in the comments. In your opinion, how good was peak-level Eminem actually? We can't wait to hear from you, and thanks for joining us for another episode of How to Rap.